What if the secret to a truly fulfilled life wasn't really about chasing success, but about building something deeper? Well, today we're diving into Key 5 from Jean Benjour's Realities of Life. And it's all about this idea: practice excellence. And look, this isn't just about being good at your job. It's about a commitment to mastery that can totally redefine your work and even your legacy. So let's break down what that really means.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll explore why excellence is such a powerful, magnetic idea. Then we'll get into what it actually feels like to be in that state of peak performance. After that, we'll check out some amazing real-world examples of mastery in action. And finally, we'll talk about how you can start applying this stuff to build your own legacy, starting right now.
All right, first up, the pull of excellence. Why is this idea stuck around for so long? What is it about excellence that just captivates us? Well, I think it's because it speaks to something really deep inside all of us, this desire to do work that actually matters.
Ralph Waldo Emerson summed it up perfectly. He wasn't talking about a marketing strategy here. He was describing a kind of natural law, that true, genuine quality has its own gravity. See, excellence doesn't need to scream for attention. Its own power just naturally draws people in. It commands respect all on its own.
And that's really the core of it, right? Pursuing excellence, it changes you from the inside out. It's about replacing that feeling of mediocrity with this deep, profound sense of purpose. It calls you to become a master of your craft and turns the simple act of learning into something that brings you real joy.
So, okay, if that's the why, let's get into the how. What does this pursuit of excellence actually feel like on the inside? We're going to shift here from the philosophical to the psychological.
And that feeling? It has a name: flow. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered that this state is where we find our deepest fulfillment. It's that magic zone, the one where you're so locked into what you're doing that hours just melt away. You're challenged, you're focused, and you are completely lost in the work itself.
And here's a really crucial point. This drive, this quest for flow, it's not for a round of applause. It's not about getting validation from other people. It's an internal standard. It's about having integrity with your own potential. And once you feel it, giving anything less than your best, it honestly starts to feel like you're betraying the person you know you could be.
Seriously, think about it for a second. When have you felt that? Maybe it was while you were coding a really tough problem, or perfecting a recipe in the kitchen, or just getting lost playing an instrument. That feeling right there, that's the heart of excellence.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Well, in this next section, we're going to look at 3 incredible examples of how this idea of excellence becomes a blueprint for building something truly extraordinary.
Our first case study is someone you've definitely heard of: Steve Jobs. For him, excellence was basically another word for integrity.
There's this amazing story about the first Macintosh computer. Jobs was obsessed with how the circuit boards looked inside the machine, the parts that no customer would ever see. He believed that true excellence is defined by the standards you keep when nobody is looking. And that one conviction, that single idea, created a ripple effect. It built a culture that completely redefined what an entire industry thought was possible.
Next up, let's look at a different flavor of excellence with Elon Musk, where we really see it as the fuel for these massive, world-changing ambitions.
Look, Musk didn't just have big ideas. Let's be honest, anyone can have a big idea. What actually moved whole industries and inspired thousands of brilliant engineers to solve what seemed like impossible problems was his relentless, absolute devotion to achieving those ideas at the highest possible standard. Excellence wasn't just the goal, it was the engine.
And for our third case study, Jeff Bezos shows us another powerful principle: that excellence is so often born from intense focus.
Amazon didn't start by trying to sell everything to everybody. No way. It started with just one thing: books. Bezos poured all his energy into mastering that single domain, into delivering books with a speed and a reliability that nobody else could touch. And it was only after he achieved true excellence there that he used that solid foundation of mastery to expand and build an empire.
Now we have to pause here because this is a really important distinction to make. Excellence is not perfectionism. In fact, you could say they're opposites. Excellence is a positive, passionate devotion to your craft. It's focused. Perfectionism, on the other hand, is driven by a fear of failure. It leads to obsessively tinkering with tiny details, and in the end, it just leads to paralysis. One moves you forward, the other holds you completely still.
So, with that in mind, how do we bring all this home?
Let's move into our final section and figure out how we can take these big ideas and make them real in our own lives, starting today.
I want you to remember that practicing excellence, it's not just some personal self-help project. The world we live in right now was built by people who simply refuse to accept good enough. Their art, their inventions, their courage, all of it leaves an echo. And your work, it contributes to that same chorus.
Okay, so here it is, the call to action. And it's actually really simple. Don't try to change your entire life at once. Just pick one thing, one single area, maybe a skill at work, a personal hobby, a relationship, and just decide right now to raise your standard.
And we're not talking about some massive overhaul here. The challenge is just to raise that standard by 10%. That's it. It's manageable. It's achievable. It's just a small, consistent push toward being better.
Because what really matters here at the end of the day is consistency, not perfection. It's about that daily practice of just showing up and giving that little bit extra. And the most important step you can take is the first one. So, start today.
Which leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. When it's all said and done, when your work is finished, what echo will you leave behind?